Hi YouTube! Today I'll be reading for October 19th video, and we will only be doing half of chapter 2 of The Hidden Evil by R.L. Stine. We'll only be doing half because we want to keep them all the same amount of time-ish around, and this chapter is much longer than the first one. Chapter 2, New York, 1847. Why did we have to fight last night? Why did we have to fight the night he died? Tears burned Maggie Alston's eyes. She drew in a long breath, frightening to compose herself. Her older sister, Henrietta, gently stroked Maggie's long red hair. "Oh, Maggie, I shall never forgive myself for attending that silly recital at the Garfields. Never! How terrible for you to be all alone with father when he—" Maggie heard her sister stifle a sob. "You will never know how awful it was, Henrietta," she thought. Yesterday's grisly scene flooded Maggie's mind. She heard her poor family's gurgling scream. Then she raced down the hall into her nightgown. She found him on his knees in the front parlor. Blood matted the silver hairs of his goatee and splattered in front of his white nightdress. His old gray eyes filled with terror as he coughed and gagged, bringing up more blood. Maggie screamed for help, screamed and screamed, but it was useless. There was no one home to hear her cries. By the time Dr. Marston arrived, Maggie shook her head. She could not bear to think about it. "Do you know what hurts most horribly?" she asked Henrietta. "We were fighting, just yesterday. Oh, Hen, why do I always fight with him? Why?" "You inherited father's temper," Henrietta replied with a sad smile. She smoothed the loose strand of her dull brown hair back into its bun. "Yes," Maggie agreed. "We had so many horrible, pointless arguments, and I treated him hideously last night. What if he died thinking I didn't love him?" Maggie buried her face in her hands. Henrietta wrapped her arms around Maggie and rocked her back and forth. "He knew you loved him. Of course he knew," she whispered. "At least I still have Henrietta," Maggie thought. Their mother died when Maggie was 6. Henrietta was only 9. But she took the job of the mothering Maggie, comforting her when she woke up after a nightmare, listening to her problems. "Dearest Hen." Maggie gazed up at her sister with a tiny smile. "If not for you, I do not think I could bear this." "We must be strong," Henrietta agreed. "We must be very strong." Someone knocked at the door. Henrietta cleared her throat. "Come in," she called, her voice thick. Colleen, the maid, entered the custard. Kurt sighed. Her round cheeks appeared bright red. "Yes?" Henrietta asked. "2 constables are here to see you, miss," the maid answered. Maggie stood up slowly. "Constables?" "I told them that you were not at home to visitors, miss, but they insisted on speaking with you both." Colleen twisted her hands in her apron. Do they know that we are mourning?" Henrietta asked. Maggie heard her sister's voice tremble. "Poor Hen," she thought. "It's not fair for her to always be taking care of me. I must take care of her too." "Yes, miss, I told them," Colleen answered. "Show them in at once," Maggie cried, feeling her temper flare. "I want to inform them that they should have more respect for a man's grieving family." "Very good, miss." The maid returned a moment later with 2 constables. The men wore blue frock coats with shiny badges. Maggie noticed the revolvers tucked into their belts, along with cubes of hardwood. She shivered. What could they possibly want here? The constables quickly removed their caps. One of the men was old and bald. The other was young with red hair, almost as fire as Maggie's. "You are the Alston sisters?" the bald constable asked, peering at Maggie and Henrietta in turn. Henrietta grabbed Maggie's hand and gave it a squeeze. "She doesn't want me to lose my temper," Maggie thought. She pressed her lips tightly together and let her sister answer. "Yes, this is Margaret Alston," Henrietta said. "I am Henrietta Alston." "We are very sorry to intrude to you on a time of like this," continued the older constable. "Terribly sorry," the red-headed constable agreed. He blushed so hard his freckles darkened. "What is the matter?" Maggie snapped. "You say you do not wish to intrude, but here you are. Our father's scarcely cold in his grave." That is half of chapter 2. I will see you guys the 2nd of November for the rest of this chapter 2. Have a good day, YouTube. Bye!